So as we're reading once again, this really soon-to-be famous work, I think, of Rabbi YOSEF Chaim MIMRAN. A book like we said we should have every. You have to realize what Rabbi MIMRAN means to us. And he's an English speaker, a native English speaker. I know he's from Quebec, so he also speaks Quebecois. But he is a native English speaker. When I first started learning, trying to learn, I was fortunate enough to get direction from a rabbi from Israel, but who was a Spanish-speaking rabbi, and I speak Spanish, so he was able to show me a lot of things. And he was allowed me to read and learn and try to do like it was very helpful for me. For most people, like in the United States, people told me, listen, you can't learn this here because there's nobody to teach you. You can't learn this here. You have to go to Israel if you want to do this. So I heard that many times. It didn't stop me. I kept trying because I wasn't particularly good at this work, and I really wanted to learn it. Then comes along a person like Rabbi MIMRAN, who is actually a native English speaker. And he has a grasp of our language and our system more than anybody else could. And so he has brought this tremendous light to us as a result of the fact that he writes in English. So let's go to another idea he says. He says this is called the end to all power struggles. He says perfection in this world is dvekus, which means clinging, with Hashem, which means the worlds of non-physicality beyond us. He said, when you succeed in dissociating yourself from your mind, your sense of self is no longer derived from the mind. Rather, it is rooted in a deeper and truer place within yourself. Now, how can we achieve that state? How can we overcome our identifications with our minds? Watch out for any kind of defensiveness you may detect within yourself. Think about what it is that you are defending. Is it an illusory identity? Someone you wish you could be? An image in your mind, a fictitious entity? Once you discover the real motives behind your defensive feelings, you make this pattern conscious, and then, once you're able to witness it, you have severed your identification with it. Now, once again, I think this really refers to something that Rabbi MIMRAN has sent to me fairly recently. He says, once you discover the real motives behind your defensive feeling, because he said that when I was talking to him, I was feeling defensive. And it's true, in the place, I moved to a new place, there's a lot of, I feel very defensive in a certain sense because I'm the only person learning Kabbalah here. Now maybe there's a second one. But maybe it'll grow. But at the same time, I'm alone. So I have defensive feelings. You make this pattern conscious, and then, once you are able to witness it, you have severed your identification with it. In the life of your consciousness, the unconscious pattern will then quickly dissolve. It's that simple. In the light of your conscious, being aware of something, cause the emotion to dissolve. It's that simple, he says. Now, this is the end of all arguments and power struggles, which are so corrosive in relationships. Wielding power over others is nothing more than weakness disguised as strength. True power lies within us. We are built around it. As our sages have taught us, who is strong? One who conquers his evil inclination. And Rabbi MIMRAN adds, the ego. Now, the evil inclination, for those who don't know this is also, there are many different words for what we call the evil inclination. It's the opposite of the good inclination, which is the higher self. He says that the lower self is the ego, is the evil inclination. That is, what is evil inclination? It means that it leads to death. It leads to all different kinds of sicknesses and fights and problems and so on and so forth, because we follow after our appetites. That's the evil inclination. He says that's the ego, because who I am is what I should be doing, following my feelings. We understand that for anyone who is identified with his mind, he sees that thinking that's going around. I think he previously used the word emotional ego, and as such is disconnected from his true power, which is a power that lies within us that we can all reach, which originates from the word soul. Now, it's important for people to know that in the Hebrew language, in the study of Kabbalah, there are 5 different levels of the soul. So in English, we just have one word. But the word Hebrew might here be neshama. Neshama is related to the concept of breath, the inspiration of the breath. That's what is it that the synapse that allows you to breathe? Where's the energy coming there? Where's the construction of it? So these are different levels of the soul. Which originates from the soul will have fear as his constant companion. Again, as such, when a person is disconnected, and he's not tekrah with his true self, which is soul, will leave this person as fear as a constant companion. At this junction in human history, there are actually very few people who have found their identities behind their minds and who are in touch with their genuine strength. Now, once again, it means to say that within us is an aspect of infinity, which is all good. But it's covered over by the circumstances of our life. And I think the metaphor is that when Adam and Eve were dismissed from the perfect life of the Garden of Eden, they had a struggle. And we have to do that too. But we have to be able to realize in context what this world is really about. It's therefore we can assume that virtually everyone you know or meet really lives in a state of fear. Different people will experience different levels of fear, but the fear will always be there. At one end of the scale, there are those who live with constant anxiety and dread. And at the other end, there are people who must contend with vague feelings of unease and a subtle sense of threat. Read it again. Now, at one end of the scale, he says there are those who live with constant anxiety and dread. So that's one. Let's say the anxiety and dread scale. Here's one level. They are subsumed in the worry of their lives. And at the other end, there are people who must contend with vague feelings of unease. People who have to contend with they're just unhappy and a subtle sense of threat, without being aware of it. Most people become conscious of their fear only when it appears in one of its more acute forms. So here we have this last little verb here. It says, wielding power over others is nothing more than weakness disguised as strength. True power lies within us. As we said before, this is the neshama. This is our souls within us, or really a higher level, that we could become aware of all the things around us in an emotional sense. This is Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and this is Baruch Fleischman. We're listening to the great Rabbi YOSEF Chaim MIMRAN.